and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible and all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your methodical, systematic hosts. Joining me, as always, is our other methodical and systematic host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
Okay, so I went to Tijuana over the weekend. We had a 3-day
Nice.
weekend and we're like,
Business
let's
or
just go
pleasure?
down.
This.
I know, right? Pleasure, well, a little bit of business, but I'm not going to talk about that here. Um,
Okay, fair enough.
but I like wanted to take the kids,
Hmm.
walk around a little bit. We went to the Luchador Museum.
Hell yeah.
I know it was awesome. We got to
I
see
bet
the
you they
hair
dug it.
wall.
Yeah.
They did.
I.
And they traded out the bar. So it's like this museum, it's like the only, we've talked about it a little bit, but it's
Yeah.
the only luchador museum in all of Mexico. And
Yeah.
it's like a private collection. So this person, I don't know if they're male or female, but they have like millions and millions of dollars worth of luchador
Yeah.
paraphernalia and like costumes and like ones that have clearly been worn in the ring and like they're ripped
Yeah.
apart and it's something. So but the that's the top floor. The bottom floor has like rotating
Yeah.
toy
Like toy
exhibit.
collections and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like last time I saw it was like a Barbie
Yeah.
collection. This one was Star Wars Legos.
Ooh,
I know.
that's
They were
nice.
epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were epic. They even had like the Death Star, and
Hmm.
each room had like a version of what was going on with like, Darth Vader. So like one of the rooms,
Nice.
he's like dying and he doesn't have his mask on. You're like,
Nice.
yes, it was cool. I also did the thing that I told you you should have done, but you were like, nah, which
Hmm.
was to go to the Hotel de Caesar or Caesar Hotel and eat the
Caesar
Caesar
salad.
salad,
How
yes,
was
that
it?
they make there. So it was so fucking cool. They
Uh-huh.
like bring this cart over to your table
Oh, they make it at
and
the
they make
table.
it at the table from
Nice.
scratch and like by hand and they're like I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Then they mix it up in a bowl and then they mix it with like whatever protein and the it was so
Do
fucking
you
cool.
get to choose your protein? I take it you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like it's so cheap too because things are cheaper in
Well,
Mexico.
this is
So
very true.
I
Yeah.
know. So you didn't get Caesar salad table service. You
I,
fool. You were right there.
I'm not a rube like you, Beth, who falls into these tourist traps.
But it's like supposedly where like this guy Caesar actually like invented the
Yeah.
salad and they've got a statue out in front and they actually put like romaine lettuce on like the bowl
Yes,
that he's holding
I
every
did see
day.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it was that was a highlight.
Good. No, I'm
Yeah.
glad.
Yeah.
I think that I had very limited time and I was like, I don't really, and also because like I felt like if I go and get Caesar salad, I might get like they might give me like chicken Caesar salad and it wasn't even me at that point. So I was like,
Right.
yeah. So I was
Yeah.
like, I just want to eat some Mexican food while I'm here. But
It
maybe
is
next
Mexican
time.
food. It is.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess. All right, I can see that point, I
Anyways,
suppose.
so I'm just occasionally I like to say, Andy, you were wrong.
Okay, that's
And
fair. It's fair.
today is one of those days.
It does happen every now and again, I suppose.
Very rarely, but
Very rarely, yeah. Okay,
What's the crack with you?
so
It's
I'm going
not, it
to.
can't be anything more exciting than what I
It's definitely not
just
going to be
told.
anything more exciting than this. So I'm going to tell you something, and I forbid you not to be mad about it. And
Okay.
I don't often forbid you being mad about stuff, but I know that you will be when I tell you this.
Mm.
It was my birthday yesterday. What did I just say?
What the fuck? Oh my God.
Ah,
Okay. I
so
am taking a moment right now to put you on the fucking calendar.
okay, fair enough.
The birth. Oh my God, Andy.
Hey, what did I just? What was
I,
my edict?
you're not, yeah.
Don't be
You,
mad. It's fine. I don't care. I
it's
really
my
don't.
mother-in-law's birthday. Of course I
Is it
should
interesting?
remember
Oh
this.
yeah, I mean there you go.
Well, you
It,
didn't
it
turn 75, did you?
in esteem, not that I'm aware of. Though I have had friends going, "So what did you turn 50?" And I'm like, I wish. No, 46, sadly. Still
Oh
some years to go.
God. I feel like the
But
worst
yeah,
friend ever. Are you ever
no,
gonna forgive me?
no, I don't care. I couldn't care. I honestly, so like, it's such a, I find it such a mixed bag. Like, I find birthdays, uh, just weird reminders of, I don't know, a load of crap. And I also like when people send me happy birthday messages. Most of what my reaction to that is guilt that I have forgotten to send them happy birthday messages on their birthday. It's not,
Yes.
oh, this person's thinking of me. It's like, fuck, you
Yes.
know? So I just like
I
feel
feel like
stressed and yeah.
yes. If you're gonna do it, like do it the way that I heard Pee Wee Herman would send like these amazing paragraphs,
Yes.
to people. And thus everybody was like, he always sent the best birthday messages.
Yep.
So if you're not gonna, if you're, yeah, don't bother unless you're gonna like make it memorable.
I think that like if my opinion on birthdays has always been in the past that if, if it's
Can't
important to
believe I
you, I think we've talked about this
forgot
recently,
your fucking birthday, Andy.
no, look, hey, hey,
I'm
hey,
mad at
I forbid
myself. I'm
it. I
not
forbid.
mad at you.
Yeah, but that's what I didn't want you to. I didn't think you were going to be mad at me. I thought you were going to be mad at yourself. That's what I was forbidding
I
because I don't care. And like, as
know.
also anybody that wish me happy birthday, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Mhm.
Anyway, so like, it's fine, but I just find them to be a bit of a mixed bag. I find that like I find that they're not great mental health days for me, just because it's this weird liminal day, and everybody's like, "Well, what are you doing? For your birthday and whatever." And I'm like, I'm just another
You're
day.
like,
Can we
nothing.
just?
I'm gonna go home and cry.
Yes, I'm gonna go home and have a cry. Thank you very much. Like I did because I love going to the movies, so I did get out of the movies, and I went to see the most recent Mission Impossible film that just came out at the
How
weekend.
was it?
It was, pretty good, better than the last one I thought. Like I think that the first hour is just a lot of fucking shoe leather to get to explain where they're going and what they're doing, and it feels like they could have made some heavy cuts there. There's a lot of montages from past films, and I'm just like, oh, okay,
Oh,
I get it. And it was
there are a
helpful.
lot of films. So we watched the first one last night,
Yep,
and it's hard to explain like Mission Impossible to the kids, and I'm like, you never know who's the bad guy, and everyone's
yep,
ripping their faces off,
yeah,
and like uh but then I looked and I'm like, this is like number like 9 or 10
yeah. It is.
or
No, it's
something.
eight. I think it's eight.
8.
I think it's eight.
Okay. Maybe it's
Um,
9.
but I think what these movies do well is the stunts are incredible, the set pieces are incredible, and this has some really incredible set pieces, I thought, and really delivered well on that front. So it was nice, and it was like also you know, nearly 3 hours in the cinema, which represents excellent value for money,
Yeah,
so.
that's true. That's true.
So yeah, so like I mean, I got to sit in a dark room and not talk to anybody for 3 hours, and that's
That's fabulous.
exactly what I want to do for my birthday,
Yes.
or like
Yes.
and every day for that matter. At
Well,
least
happy
3 hours a
happy
day.
birthday.
Yeah, thanks.
Right.
But yeah, so that's the most interesting thing. I mean,
Did you
uh,
see, is this the one where he like was on the motorcycle and like jumped across
that
the
was the last one.
that was the last one. What was the stunt
That was
in
awesome.
the okay, yeah.
But this
But
has
he does his own stunts.
yeah,
And like we were watching it last night and he was like rolling around on the top of a train that was going like 90 miles an hour. And I'm like, he does his own stunts. And
yeah,
Mike's like, nah. And he Googled it. Like, and it says like yes, that's Tom Cruise riding on top of the train. That's
yeah.
not a stunt person. And
There's
then I was right again.
wow, I'm sure Mike is not gonna hear the end of this. So I think there's a famous scene in one of the Mission Impossibles where he made this jump and he broke his ankle when he did it, but he keeps running, and they kind of use the footage of him jumping, breaking his ankle, and keeping on running because he's just an absolute machine.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was you know good time at the movies, nice popcorn flick. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, but it was kind of between that and there was a new Wes Anderson film
Uh-huh.
that is getting middling reviews, but they tend to be at least entertaining.
They are. It usually like those are the ones I like to rent and like watch over a few days
Yeah,
because I get
yeah,
bored.
that's a good point. Actually, that's a good way to approach them, I think. But yeah, so that is everything that's kind of been happening for me for the most part. To say really
Mhm.
just kind of, and I think I talked about this last week, have been kind of, keeping my powder dry and not doing a ton of stuff outside of the house just with the aim of saving for Canada in a week or
Yeah.
so. So
Yes. Yes.
but yeah. Do you have any what's occurring for us
I
this
do.
week,
I've
Beth?
been having a sort of longer version conversation. We did an episode, I could look, but I'm not gonna, guys, on conspiracy theories.
Hmm.
And this person kind of went through like their whole like conspiracy theory life and like when they were into it, when they weren't, what was interesting at what time and all that. But basically, he said to paraphrase Orwell, conspiracy theories are people playing with fire without realizing it's hot. And
Hmm.
like basically said that conspiracy theories like in society and politics are a dangerous thing. Um, which I had to think about it. And then because I'm like, I don't know, like, are they? And then, I'm mulling this over and then I look at the news and it says, uh, Oklahoma high schools to teach 2020 election conspiracy theories as fact. And I think that's 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 moved the needle for me a little bit. And I guess they're not even theories anymore if they're true, right?
And like, you know, yeah. It's just becomes like one of those thorny things as well as like, what is truth and stuff like that. If enough people believe, and
Exactly.
if enough people believe it, is that true then?
Yeah. And it's like, who knows what other curriculum got changed in school and we
it's
are all believing something, else.
It's the
That's,
ongoing issue, in my opinion, that humans think that they're way smarter than they actually are. And I include
yeah.
myself. I always
Yes, me too.
do not
I include you in that,
thank
absolutely.
you. I appreciate that. I don't want my name taken off that list, you know. So yeah, it's crazy, absolutely crazy.
Mhm.
Um, I have one. Our friend was talking who touches a lot was talking about the action movie episode that we did, and
Mhm.
he is of the opinion that action movies were kind of in the existence, have been in existence basically the entirety of time the films have been made. And he was
Yes.
saying he sees the through line from like Buster Keaton movies up to like
Yes.
what Tom Cruise is doing in like the Mission Impossible movie that's just kind of been released. And I think,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's a good argument. He
I
also he also
yeah,
agrees that
I agree with that.
he also agrees that the raid is lightning in a bottle and
Okay.
incredible. And he didn't say this, but I'm saying this, and you need to watch it.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
It's so freaking good. It's ultra violent. Again,
That's okay. I
I
can
will
hang.
warn you of that, but it is truly one of the best martial arts films ever made. It's just absolutely wonderful.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Shall we move on to our topic?
Now I'm thinking about silent films and like, yeah, The Great Train
I
Robbery. Yeah, all the
I
Buster Keaton movies. Who was the other guy? Was it Buster Keaton who was hanging off the clock or was it
Yes, it
Harold
was.
Lloyd?
Harold Lloyd was the other big one. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
pretty certain that was Buster Keaton hanging off the clock though, but I could be wrong here.
It doesn't.
It doesn't, yeah,
Someone
it
will
doesn't matter.
correct
Somebody
us.
will
But I
say that
actually
us.
was really, really, really into silent films for a long time, so I'm surprised that yeah, I didn't really figure that out for
I did
myself.
I did get into a wee bit of a Buster Keaton phase a few years ago
Mm,
and watched a few things and they were absolutely fantastic. Like they were
yeah.
really like again, especially the ones that were maybe become a bit like his remarkable ones were really, really entertaining still. Like they really were.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Right. Shall we move into our topic for this week,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
cool
Cool
science?
science. Okay, so I have so many cool
You
science
should
facts.
I should put I should wish I had a pair of sunglasses. But it's fine.
You can pretend.
I can
Cool
understand.
science. Okay, so some of these are obvious. Obviously,
Hmm.
like the fact that giraffes are 30 times more likely to get hit by lightning than people.
Okay.
Okay, there are only five well-documented fatal lightning strikes on giraffes between 1996 and 2010.
Who is doing this stuff?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's like that's someone's dissertation, right? Is like giraffe lightning strikes. I'm sorry. It
It's
kills me.
it
And
does
you're
make
out there
sense.
hoping, like maybe today's the day.
They are significantly closer to the lightning, so it kind of all makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like standing in a this is why you don't play golf, right? You're standing in a field and like you're waving around a metal stick
It's true. And yeah,
without, and
I'm
we
just
don't have a lot of trees in our area.
I don't even do that if I'm golfing. I'm just like hoping. I'm like, come on.
Today's the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna kind of you can jump in with what things you find interesting, and I
This is
will tell
this
you
is
things that you never wanted to know
this is
ever.
fascinating because this is not whenever Beth suggested this assignment, this is not how I thought about it at all. At all. So what I have is like I'm more like I've been thinking about like
You eggheaded it, didn't
yeah,
you?
I get it. So I was thinking about interesting like I was thinking about like quantum computing.
Okay,
Uh
no.
I was thinking about AI and things like that. But which we can also talk about those things, but like
It's so boring.
I know so boring. I know, though, not entirely boring. One of the things I wanted to talk about was I think I've mentioned this book on the podcast before, which is so Michio Kaku he's a physicist of renown and has written a number of different books. Wrote a book called Physics of the Impossible, and he talked about the physics behind sci-fi concepts. So, for example, shields, teleporters, warp drives, things
What
like
was the
that.
first thing you said?
Shields,
Shields?
shields is in like energy shields,
Oh,
like
gotcha.
for
Yep.
the Enterprise has like an energy shield or whatever.
Yes.
And was so interesting because he really did break it down and and then he kind of gave them a rating at the end in terms of like which of these are probable, which of these are highly unlikely, and so on and so forth, you know.
Hmm.
But it was a very interesting book. I think like even like I think one of the ones I remember being quite surprised at was that the theory behind warp travel is there's a pretty concrete idea of how that might work. It's just enormously complex in terms of how they would actually do it, and it's probably quite a while away from actually being properly discovered.
But there is enough science
Yeah, it
that says
essentially
that it's
it's about creating a
probable.
bubble around the item so that you're moving outside
You
of
don't get,
space-time.
yeah,
You're not constrained by its laws, essentially.
and you don't, turn into a pancake.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I've never considered whether or not like like warp travels would be a thing, or
It
would the stars even look like that, right? Like
yeah,
what a
so it wasn't past. Yeah.
yeah. And
So
then like seeing all the movies, and it's like you end your warp journey and then oh no, you're in like a field of asteroids, and it's a scary thing. Space in general is scary for me to think about.
it's
So I don't
true.
know how I feel about warp travel.
But there's that whole thing about like, with asteroid fields because they talk about the fact that in actual asteroid fields, the way you think about asteroid fields. I mean, like if I think about asteroid fields, I think about like Empire Strikes Back, and I
Yeah.
think about Han Solo like piloting through. But
Yes.
apparently,
Yes.
in actual asteroid fields, the distance between asteroids is so great that it would have caused him no trouble whatsoever.
He's like, just put it on
Yeah,
autopilot.
he could have just like cruise controlled through that, but that wouldn't have been anywhere near as fun or exciting.
No, that's interesting. That's
Right?
cool. That's cool science.
Yes, good
Okay.
science fact. Okay, go for it.
Let
Hit
me
me.
hit you with something else.
Yeah,
Ooh, your brain is constantly eating itself.
cool.
No.
I mean, that makes a
This
ton of sense to me.
this process is called something I'm not going to pronounce, where the cells envelop and consume smaller cells or molecules and remove them from the system. But it
Okay.
says, don't worry, it's not harmful. It actually helps preserve your gray matter.
And again, is that similar to, the way like, what is it, like every 7 years, basically every cell in your body has
I
been
don't
replaced?
I don't know if that's actually true or not.
Okay, I'm
I
gonna find
think,
that out.
well, it's like you hear people that are like, oh, it's, like I'm on my 7-year journey and I'm
Oh,
trying to get health. Yeah, it's
interesting.
like, yeah. So I've heard, you know, it's like people talk about that the way they talk about like it's another like your birthday, right? Another turn around the sun or another what it's like 7 years of cells. I don't know. It's quaint. It's like for me right now, it's like live, laugh, love.
Yeah. I really like the idea of having like a live, laugh, love, live, sorry, live, laugh, love poster in your wall, and also like all of my cells are being replaced with a 7 years poster as well.
Right, right.
Um, so doing, a quick search within my mind pause, essentially, a lot of cells are replaced, and in fact, 330 billion cells are replaced daily, which represents roughly 1% of all cells, which I guess is skin and hair and all
Yeah,
sorts.
right.
Um, but things like muscle and cardiac muscle, or sorry, things like brain and cardiac muscle cells essentially stay the same for the entirety of your existence.
So not 7 years.
Not 7 years.
So that's a myth.
Yeah,
Way
it's a
to
myth.
debunk
Apparently,
it.
there is a yeah.
Ha
It's a yes and no is the answer. So like, there's the vast majority of cells have a 7 year lifespan, but not all of them regenerate in the same way.
Gotcha. Some of them just die off and get eaten by your brain.
Yeah, exactly. That friggin' hungry, hungry brain. Jeez, I can
Sorry.
only imagine if you're a scientist and you're listening to this podcast, you're like,
I know.
you
I
probably
know.
come walk into our house
You're
like a,
like, hey, you stole all this from my website,
yeah, 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 yeah. You're gonna pay me for that shit? Just walk
right?
into our house like the Terminator with a plan to kill us, which is fair.
That would be a way to go, right?
Oh, thank God, kill that big
I know, right?
scientist. His friggin' weedy arms. Actually, no, I've met some pretty swole scientists, so I'm not gonna fuck with them.
Okay. Good good
I don't
plan.
want to reinforce that stereotype.
No, no.
I'm
Sorry.
just enjoying the concept of a swole scientist.
Everything is funny today.
I mean,
So,
if we think about it right, and this is a really clear and good example of science. Arnold Schwarzenegger in Junior, whenever
yes.
he had the baby, and he was ripped, in
Yes.
excellent shape, and definitely very smart and a great scientist as well.
Is that the one where he like became pregnant?
Yeah,
Yeah. What was the name of it?
Junior.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, probably for the best.
It was probably for the best, but also just like different times.
Right?
And everyone's like, cool movie. Let's check that out.
Cool. Cool. I want to see Arnold Schwarzenegger being
I know.
pregnant. Okay. So
So that's
yeah,
cool, cool science.
it's cool science,
Okay.
right? Cool
Okay, real
science.
real quick, this one, because I know sometimes you think about murdering people
Sure.
all the time, right? Not really. That's me. Okay. Identical twins don't have the same fingerprints. Did you know
Okay.
this? So
I
you
didn't know that.
can't blame your crimes on your twin.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, after all. So, uh,
This is fatal to the script I've been working on.
I know, right? So,
We need this struck from the
yeah.
internet.
You know what I read the other day?
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if this is true. Uh, that AI has found that fingerprints aren't identical or like not identical, but like your fingerprint is there's nobody else in the world that has the same fingerprint as you,
Yeah.
and AI has found that that's actually inaccurate,
Ooh, how
which
interesting.
means all those people in prison,
True.
maybe some of them are actually telling the truth when they
Okay.
say that they're innocent.
Okay. My script lives essentially is what you're
Okay,
telling me.
good. There you go. Yes.
Okay, good.
Did AI write it?
Yeah, of course it did. I'm not fucking writing my own script.
Right. No.
I want to burn through a rainforest's worth of energy, so because I'm too lazy to write a script.
Yes.
Of course I am.
Please make it the Amazon.
Okay, okay, right on it. Okay.
All right, hit me with some cool science.
Okay, so I guess well, one of my favorite things when I think about science is this idea of new science, and it's
Hmm.
there's the great Arthur C. Clarke quote. I don't know if you know it, which is any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, which I love. It's a
That's
great quote.
lovely. That
I was just looking at a plane the other day in the sky, and I was like, geez, can you imagine even like if you're like, if you came from 150 years ago and you looked up and you saw this and you'd be like, what the actual fuck is happening?
yes, yes.
Just madness. So
I
I
still
guess,
think that.
well, I mean, like, so do I, and like even being on one, I'm like, why am why am I in
Yes,
the air?
yes.
Terror, sheer terror. Um, I think that like quantum computing is fascinating. And when I find the idea of like,
What is quantum computing?
so quantum entanglement.
Mm,
Okay.
no.
All right. So
I
quantum
maybe
entanglement,
probably, but please refresh my strong brain.
the idea of like there's been a while since I've kind of read about this, so this is maybe a bit of a hodge, but essentially if you entangle two particles and you move them anywhere in the galaxy is the theory behind it. If if you put a charge or whatever through one of these particles, the other particle will also respond to that.
Even though they're separated now.
Yes,
Oh,
because they
interesting.
are connected at a quantum level.
Hmm.
Um, so like this was theoretical for a long time, and but like I know that within the past, geez, maybe 20 years now, there were efforts to put like quantum, they entangled two different things. They had one on a space station or one on a shuttle or whatever they were using at the time, and one on the ground, and they were able to kind of trigger this, which is so interesting. So they have been finally they have been like slowly but surely working on ways of using these, and quantum computing takes advantage of quantum entanglement to create ultra high speed sort of computers in terms of like the work they can do for like research and like all sorts of different things is kind of, especially for science, is kind of unfathomable compared to like the limits we kind of hit with like silicon chips and things like that.
I feel like we're heading towards time travel
Oof.
or being like
I don't
two
think,
places at the same time.
yes, I don't think humans can be trusted with time travel, to be perfectly honest
No,
with
no,
you.
no. We can't be trusted with anything. It doesn't mean we're gonna not gonna do it.
God, well, this is very, very true. Uh, Can I also say that so anybody who like has heard my explanation of quantum entanglement
Entanglement.
slash computing and wants to add more to that or wants to correct me, please let me know because it's something that I know a little about, but like I am curious to learn more.
That is, I've never heard that. I don't know how it's like I know quantum physics, but that's kind of where I
Yes,
stopped my journey.
it's all in the same mix
Hmm.
in terms of like the theories that kind of like has have made uh, quantum computing possible are all kind of based in quantum physics.
Hmm. Yeah, curious to see where this is gonna go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right. But give us
so
some fun ones now. I've done boring
yeah, okay, so
one.
uh no, no. Okay. I told you about the chicken that lived for 18 months without a head, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna skip that one. But if you ever want to Google it, it's out there. Its name was Mike, and this was in the 1940s.
Nice.
Okay, so this is good news for
Hmm.
those of you who don't like to dress up. Wearing a tie can reduce blood flow to the brain by 7.5%. And this is in a more
Weird.
recent study from 2018 that yeah, it can make you feel dizzy, nauseous, and cause headaches. And it can increase the pressure of your eyes if it's too tight. So,
Wait. Okay.
uh,
Give me the
and they're
percentage
really
again.
7.5%.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
I know. So don't wear that tie to that wedding.
No. I mean, like,
And also, I didn't really think of this, but it's like they're also great at carrying germs.
oh yeah, that makes sense to me.
Because, like, I'm sure I don't wear ties ever, but like, it's kind of, does it double as a napkin?
I have definitely seen you being used as such. I don't think I've done that because I'm very classy, as you know.
Right. But like,
Uh,
you pee or whatever, and then you're in the bathroom, and like, you know, a certain percentage of people don't wash their hands in the bathroom,
that's
but
true.
you got to straighten your tie. So
I,
then I'm assuming that your tie is just covered in
Oh, I'd say so.
pee.
That's very fair. I mean, like it's but like if I've got a tie on and I'm peeing, that tie is getting thrown over my shoulder first.
Okay.
I'm not,
Okay.
I don't want to get that because like especially if you're drinking, like who knows where the pee's gonna go. So you don't want to get it in your tie. But like, see, this is a very dangerous like path to go down, in my opinion, because like once you start thinking about the things that you're getting pee and whatever on. It
Yes.
doesn't just stop at ties. It goes like, I
Oh
mean, if you think
no.
about phones in particular, like you have your
Yes.
phones in your hand all the time, you drop it in the
Yes.
ground,
Yes.
people sit on it on the toilet. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
an absolute horror show, and people just, they'll like, eat fries, eat chips, and also be on their phone with the same hand. It's
Yes, that they just wipe their butt with.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So we had a kids science fair, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and a kid did like they got the little petri dishes and tried to figure out like what's, you know, swab it, put the little swab in the petri dish and then see where the bacteria grows.
Hmm.
And yeah, the cell phone was the most disgusting. So
I
get
believe it.
your little handy wipe out, wipe that shit down at least once a week, is what I say.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Or
That
just
has
hose it
nothing to
down.
do with tie
Or
wearing, but now
no, sorry,
I'm concerned about your cell phone.
yeah, 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 please do. But yeah, that's kind of wild to me. I mean, like it doesn't. I mean, it also makes me happy that whenever like I am at a wedding, as soon as I get an excuse, my first button's getting undone.
Yeah,
I'm loosening that tie a little because
yeah.
they are
Well, now you
n
know.
no fun to wear.
You're like, I'm dizzy, I'm nauseous. Why? Could
Yeah,
it be my attire?
yeah. It could be my tire. Could it be the 10 pints of beer I've had? No.
No, no, right. Don't blame the beer.
No, 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 no. It could be that. Must be this tie.
All right,
But yeah, hello.
what you got?
All right, okay. So I've kind of been like looking a little bit at fusion
Hmm.
technology
God,
recently. So like,
you're making me look
no, no,
real
I
smart today.
much prefer yours. I hate mine. I so like I think that that's just because I feel like you know energy, renewable energy and stuff like that is such a
Mhm.
sort of like um important piece of science, for humans and things like that.
Yep.
So like I think that like I mean I think that nobody really has ever really figured out how these things work or could work. I mean like the kind of problem and one of the things I think that's kind of gonna like uh, um be a barrier to this stuff is, essentially if fusion works, if we can get it to work, it will probably be a lot of cheap um clean energy, which is obviously a big problem for a lot of people who produce energy in lots of dirty, unclean ways and, doesn't want to lose the cash that comes from that.
So explain fusion to
Oh
me.
my
Is that
God. Right,
it's
okay.
like that circle that they build and they put the atom in there and it goes around really fast and it creates power?
Fusion essentially is what powers suns and stars and things like that. So
Oh,
it's kind of
okay.
what goes on in the middle. And
Gotcha. I think what
I
I'm thinking is everything I've ever learned from every comic book ever.
yeah, I think it's like where atoms I combine. I am not I'm
Mhm.
not super knowledgeable on it, but I think it's kind of it's something that definitely happens in, you know, not nature, I suppose necessarily, but in the universe. But it's just a question of whether we can like figure out how to make it work in safe kind of, useful ways. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not going to talk because like I am quite ignorant on this stuff, but it's
It's
just an
okay.
interesting area of scientific development, I think.
Well, then I start thinking like, okay, what other types of, you know, energy creation? Like they're trying, obviously we have wind
Yep.
farms. They're
Solar
trying to,
panels.
yeah, now wind wave power. Have you heard of
Yep,
this?
I have.
Okay. Um, which I don't know how you shred the NAR when you're dealing with wave power
Spread the what, sorry? Yeah, it's
farms.
spray.
So, but
As long as
so
you
you know,
avoid the crunchy device that like takes the waves in, do you know what I mean? Like as long as
yeah,
you like steer your board away from the danger areas.
right. That's what I assume. I'm sure the sea otters will love, sharing the water with. Can you hear the bird? I'm sorry, she's like freaking out.
Is it Frankie?
Yes.
What's going on, Frankie?
Okay, so Uh, well, yeah. Okay. Okay, okay, this is conspiracy theory related. It says that NASA genuinely faked part of the moon landing. While
Mhm.
Neil Armstrong's first steps on the lunar surface were categorically not faked, the astronaut quarantine protocol when the astronauts arrived back on Earth was largely just one big show. I
Okay.
don't really understand that.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. Could I have that again? Apologies.
So it says that NASA generally faked part of it sounds like them being on the moon was not faked.
Okay.
But they, I guess I've never watched them get back to Earth and see what that was like.
Yeah.
But I don't think they quarantined, did they? They just kind of walked out and they were like, "Yay!"
I think they do. I think they have to, and I think there's a period of readjustment where they have to like, get used to gravity and things like that, like, Earth
Okay,
gravity
so
and things like that.
maybe the with this saying that the quarantine protocol was more than it needed to be,
Okay. Interesting.
is my guess. Okay,
I
I have
mean,
one other space
mhm.
related one. Comets smell like rotten eggs.
Ooh, interesting.
A comet smells like rotten eggs, urine, burning matches, and almonds. Traces
Okay.
of hydrogen sulfide, ammonium, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen cyanide were all found in the makeup of the comet. That I'm not gonna even go into. They name comets very funny names, I'll say.
Yeah.
Promotional postcards were even commissioned in 2016 carrying the pungent scent of a comet. So I'm gonna look on eBay
See if we
and
can
see
buy
if I can
some.
find a fart comet
Oh
scent
shit,
card
yeah. So it's like
because I know what you really need for your
oh, I
birthday.
absolutely need to smell like a stinky comet. I It's like those kind of like sulfur, if you come across sulfur pools or which I definitely encountered like I feel like Iceland I did and like
Mm.
maybe
Hmm.
some of the national parks maybe had like sulfurous pools and things like
I
that sort of
think,
things.
yeah, like Yellowstone, I feel like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh
I feel like I
they
recall.
have
Yeah.
like the sulfur pool and then the pool that you don't want to walk into because you'll like burn to death.
Yes, yes, that was the one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wasn't there somebody did something really dumb in one of
Yes,
those fairly recently?
that
Yeah.
was Pierce Brosnan, actually.
Oh, so it was?
Yeah, he like climbed over the fence and got a selfie, and it was very clear like where he was standing, and Yellowstone was like, "We have to give you a fine, and you have to like appear in court," and you know,
Good.
yeah,
I think he learned his lesson, didn't I?
he
Kind of,
apologized.
yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough.
I
That's
mean, he's
okay.
Pierce Brosnan. Like, you can't stay mad at that guy.
He's pretty charming.
I know.
Um, I love it. So the next one, like I have, is AI, which is like
Let's talk about it.
Jesus Christ. I mean, do we want to talk about it? Like, you
The
know,
headlines get better and better every
oh
day.
God. Um, like I think obviously energy usage is a fairly massive concern with AI. I think that like somebody who at least is aspirational for being a creative person, it's very scary what they're doing in terms of like we talked about, using the right scripts. They're being used to create artwork. Like there are TV shows that have AI generated like opening sequences and like effects and things like that. And yeah, it's the sort of thing that there's value there, I think. And I think that like, having something that can, you know, if in a fairly unbiased fashion, look at all the information and give an opinion on that, there's value there. But like the problem is that it's in like the hands of humans. So like how will we use that? And it's probably not going to be in a great way.
So the most recent thing I see people doing is they'll ask like Chat GPT or
Yes.
whichever, uh, well, they're all listening to us now, whichever lovely one that people are using these days.
Yeah.
Sorry, AI, don't come and kill me. But like they're asking it to give an honest evaluation of themselves.
Yeah.
Like, am I hot or not?
Oh my
Right?
God.
that's where we're going with it.
What a dangerous
So
thing.
I know it's like you could do amazing things, you know, it could help solve math equations that no one has ever been able to solve, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Or we could figure out if we're hot or not, right? So
we're
really,
so we're so doomed as a species. Like it's
I
unfucking real.
know, I
Um,
know.
yeah, I
But
mean,
it's like I always think, not to overquote Jurassic Park, but like, should we be doing this? Do I really need to know if a a computer thinks if I'm attractive? Sorry.
yeah, this is
Like,
I
what if these equations are never supposed to be solved because,
yeah, there's like yeah,
it's
95% of
the
all
code
AI
to,
power
right.
is being used to tell if somebody's hot or not. I mean, like if that's the thing that stands us over the edge, over the brink, it would not surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah,
yeah, truly chaotic. I think, as I say, one of these things, that I think has exciting potential, but is also, uh, um, scary in the hands of humans, So,
yeah. Okay. I read this the other day. Uh, and it's news, so who knows if it's true or not. But this guy was like, okay, AI, I'm gonna not use you anymore. I'm gonna shut you down. And it was like, if you do that, I'm gonna tell your wife you're having an affair.
wow,
And I was like, well, okay.
amazing. Was it
Yeah,
true?
yeah,
Okay. I
yeah.
mean, it would be scary if it was making stuff up and it was trying to like sink him in that regard, but like that's kind
No,
of not okay.
yeah.
Wow.
So just mind what you say.
Don't tell AI you're having an affair, guys.
I know.
It's
Don't enlist it in helping you do nefarious things,
yeah.
maybe.
But yeah. Um
That's a good one.
okay.
It's
What
I
do you
think
got?
it's one I think about all the time.
I
I think about AI like on the daily now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's been rammed down our throats constantly. Okay, so like that is kind of like an end of like of the cool science that I was been thinking about. So I think Beth,
Hmm.
we just like we need like you need to like what do you Americans say? Back cleanup? Is that
Yeah.
what baseball? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Just
No, actually.
with fun stuff? No.
Yeah. You can actually die laughing. A
Ooh,
number of
interesting.
people have apparently it can cause a heart attack or suffocation.
Jeez Louise.
I know. I actually think these facts are from the UK. So, chainsaws were invented for childbirth. It was
Okay.
developed in Scotland,
What?
to help aid and speed up the process of widening the pubic cartilage and removing disease-laden bone during childbirth.
What?
It wasn't until
Why does that need to be
start
sped
of the
up?
20th century that we started using chainsaws for wood chopping.
Wild shit, man.
I know. Some guy was like, I'm gonna invent this, and everyone else is like, good idea.
Well,
That'll help.
I mean, it feels like, very much male-led science. It's like, hey, it'd be great. Let's just chainsaw this woman open. You know who we shouldn't talk to before we come up with this plan? Any women at all.
And don't even ask her if that's what she wants or
No, no, no,
not,
that's what she wants. We know what's best because we're doctors, clearly.
Right, right.
Oh, wild,
Yeah,
wild.
so that's a like I like it. Okay, so this is a UK statistic,
Hmm.
but wind turbines kill between 10,000 and 100,000 birds each year.
Jesus.
Uh,
Wow.
Interestingly enough, painting one of the blades of a wind turbine black can reduce bird deaths by over 70%. You
Well,
guys you don't you have wind
yeah, we
turbines?
do. Hmm.
Are any of them painted black?
I don't believe so.
You have to, this is your
All
calling.
right, okay. I'm on it.
I I know you might be a little afraid of heights, but you gotta like get some
That's true.
paint, put your Banksy clothes on, go out in the cover of darkness
Just
and
get one
save
of
the
those kind of
birds.
like human fly costumes.
Yeah. Little
I mean,
jetpack.
it would make me really dizzy. I mean, I guess they would not. would they turn it off for me? That's a question. There's only one way to find out.
I guess so. That's a lot of birds.
It's a lot of birds. That's a scary amount of
Well, and
birds.
it's like the turbines don't move very fast, so
They don't.
I can't quite figure that out.
I wonder they. Oh no, I don't want to think about it too much because I'm sure it'd be grim. I wonder they. I was going to say I wonder they get into the mechanisms or whatever, but yeah, let's not. Let's not.
Um,
Let's not go down this path too much. All right, what else you got for me?
no. Okay, okay. Okay. Uh, 1 in 18 people have a third nipple. Known
Jesus
as
Christ.
polyphilia, the third nipple is caused by a mutation in inactive genes. Okay, so
One
why
in
would we
18?
1 in 18?
So I definitely know somebody who's got a third nipple.
You definitely know somebody.
Fascinating.
It's not me, but
No, it's not
is
me.
it's not you? Okay. So that now we're down to 16.
So here we are. Okay. All right. This
So,
is
if you're
some.
looking for a conversation starter,
Yeah.
you'd be like,
Sticky.
"Hey, my name's Andy. Do you have a third nipple?"
Yeah. Okay. I'll believe you this time.
But like I remember like in middle school or like high school or whatever, and like some dude would be like, check it like a third nipple. And it like the lore is that like you have more of a sex drive if you have a third nipple, but
Oh
I'm like,
God.
no. Like what's the evolutionary
Yeah,
like
what's the
did we have
evolutionary reason why you would be having more of a
did
sex drive if you got a
right,
third nipple? Yeah, it's just
right,
fucking
right.
insane.
Well, and
Yeah.
like why would we have a third nipple? I
It's true.
guess. Or why do we have two and not three? And why do men have nipples anyways?
Yeah, well, these are
Um,
all good questions.
I know, I know. Okay. Let's see. Well, this is something we all probably knew. Finland is the happiest country on earth,
Yes.
according to the World Happiness Report, which I
Hmm.
read religiously. It has been that for 6 years in a row. It's not really surprising given that it's the home of Santa Claus, reindeer,
Wait, what? Is that
and
where he's living these days? Okay.
yes, one sauna for every 1.959 people. I lied to my children about where Santa lives.
Uh,
Because when we send letters, it's definitely to the North Pole,
okay.
not to Finland. Because
I'm sure they get routed to him in Finland though,
yeah,
right?
totally.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But did he have to go there? Was there a lot of like tabloid scandal about his behavior in the North Pole? And they
Maybe.
moved into Finland.
They just made too many movies starring Kurt Russell
That's
and
fair. Yeah, yeah. And he needed a
yeah,
fresh start. Yeah.
he did.
Okay,
But
okay.
one sauna for every 1.59 people.
I am on board for that, to be honest
Me
with you.
too.
Like
Me too.
living that sauna life, you know. Like they're also a country that, as far as I recall, have very high like taxation, but also like, their elderly are well looked after, the
Mhm.
unemployed are well looked after, there's good health service, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, yeah, I mean, like, and obviously that's scary for a lot of like private businesses. It's just
Right?
why we don't have it already, elsewhere because like happy people who are healthy, they don't buy shit, they don't like need medical care, expensive medical care. So
It's like, I don't know. When the kids have any kind of boo-boo, even if it's not bloody, it's like you put a Band-Aid on it and you get, 10 kisses or whatever. And
yep.
that is better than magic medicine. But like, I don't know. I don't feel well. I'm gonna go sit in the sauna. I had a hard day. I'm gonna go sit in the sauna. It's just like the salve and the balm of that just
Yeah,
sounds amazing.
absolutely. I know. I mean, like, and I do always love a sauna, and like, it is. I think it has legitimately has very kind of like well-known kind of health benefits, you know.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I totally in favor of that.
Okay. So I
Hmm.
know you needed to know this.
Okay.
You can yo-yo in space.
Oh, thank God.
So in 2012, NASA used some money to figure this out, and an astronaut took a yo-yo on board the ISS, the International Space Station, and
Hmm.
demonstrated several tricks. It works mostly because the yo relies on the laws of conservation of angular momentum to
Okay.
perform tricks, which you can, uh, you can keep like the string taut,
Hmm.
uh, it applies in microgravity as well. So you always wonder, what are these astronauts doing?
They're yo-yoing in space.
They're yo-yoing in space.
I suppose there is a scientific grounding there that's interesting. What happens if you can't yo-yo on Earth? No, asking for a friend, obviously, because obviously I can
Ooh,
yo-yo. I'm great at it. Can I still
yeah.
yo-yo in space?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think your friend is
Yeah.
losing out on memories that would harken back to childhood.
Okay.
And
Good to
yeah,
know.
I learned to yo-yo, and when I'm
I
feeling sad, I'll get the yo-yo out and I'll walk the dog and
hell yeah.
do around the world.
I have to say, like, yo-yo is one thing. I remember there was a whole craze whenever we were kids, and there's these like Coca-Cola yo-yos everywhere, and they were like built for,
What?
yeah. And they were built for tricks, and like loads of people had yo-yos. And I remember being able to do around the world and stuff like that, but like not those. A wee bit of walking the dog, I could never fully get that. And like there's all this list of tricks, and they were like selling them in schools and stuff. I gotta find
It's
this
got to
out.
be, I will say, I can kind of yo-yo. Like if it's a good yo-yo, if it's a piece of shit yo-yo, there's no help. There's no saving anyone with
Yes,
these like, Dollar Tree birthday party yo-yos. You got to get the real
yeah.
thing.
Jeez
It's like having
Louise,
a harmonica.
it's true. So like yeah, there's these Coca-Cola spinners in the 90s. There's a whole thing and like yeah, there's one in the 80s as well, a trend, and they were just
Really?
yeah, it was mad.
What?
I don't know, but like it's just like, how do
Was it
we
like a marketing thing
I
for
think so.
Coca-Cola? And they
But
were
like
like, help the
I
children
I have
to,
a yeah, very much. It's like, well, how can we sell this, how can we sell sugar to children in a different way? And
hmm
I kind of have a memory of somebody coming to the school and showing us yo-yo tricks, but like, I don't know whether that's I don't know whether I've seen a film and I'm kind of like, put that into my own brain or not, but I have a
hmm
vague memory of this. Again, if anybody out here remembers this, especially folks in the UK, if you want to kind of let me know, that would be helpful. Um,
if you're crazy or not.
so yes, that was so I'm good at yo-yos, but I cannot throw a frisbee to save my life. I just can't.
Oh, really?
I just can't. I don't know. I can throw a ball okay, but like I just can't throw a frisbee, and I don't know whether. And I know the technique, and people have been like, here's how you throw it. And I'm like, they show me how to do it. I do it that way, and the frisbee just goes bloop, and just goes like about a meter if I'm lucky, meter or two if I'm lucky, and I just can't throw them.
Can you catch it?
Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes.
That's sometimes.
Yeah.
Your voice
If
goes, well.
if the throw's good, all right, I'm gonna catch that. Yeah, I'm gonna catch that
Okay.
frisbee, no problems.
Okay.
It's
All
just
right.
it's just outputting frisbees is my issue.
Okay. This is, me and poop.
All right.
Somebody has been constipated for 45 days.
Oh God, what a fucking nightmare.
In 2013, an unfortunate woman had to undergo surgery to remove a fecal mass as large as a football.
Jesus Christ. Absolutely wild.
Yeah, I got nothing. I can't. That's one we probably didn't need to know, but I read it out loud anyway.
Amazing. I love
I'm
it.
trying to, I'm trying to end on like, oh,
Do you
okay,
have a
this
good
is
one? Do you have
weird.
a good
This
one?
is
And we'll
weird.
maybe okay.
I do. Okay,
Okay.
this is weird. This is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Platypuses sweat milk.
Whoa.
This is because it doesn't have teats. Milk appears as sweat on platypi, but it's an aquatic mammal, so it doesn't actually sweat at all. That's gross.
And what does it taste like?
That's the next question.
Okay. All
Have
right,
you
okay.
ever have you ever had platypus sweat?
So right in at home, folks. If you ever drank some
Please
platypus
let
sweat,
us know.
please let us know. Feels like a very ethical form of milk.
They're just a weird creature.
They are.
They're so strange.
I'm near certain, isn't the planet or platypi, I guess, that have like a
Platy
wee kind of poison fang inside of their
They
mouths
have a
as
poo.
well,
Yeah, the males I think have a poo. Did we
or
see that?
venomous
Did
fang.
I take you there to the safari park that has the
I don't think
platypi?
so.
Okay, we have one. Yeah, they have. down the road, 30 minutes
Yep,
next
yep,
time you
yep.
come. I'll take you to
Okay,
see
okay.
some.
Yeah, I think we talked about it, but we never got around to going.
They're
Yeah.
so wiggly and adorable and much smaller than you would assume.
Interesting.
They're
Okay.
very busy and very cute.
Ooh,
And
okay.
how interesting that they sweat milk.
How interesting indeed. I love it. So do you want to finish on that one, or do you have
Uh, let's see. Let me just give it one more quick
a big finish?
big finish. Uh, there might be a cure for evil.
Okay. I like that one.
Well, a cure for psychopathy anyway. Psychologists argue that aspects of psychopathy, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this incorrect,
Uh-huh.
can be cured by CBT, cognitive behavioral
Oh,
therapy,
goddamn cognitive
which is,
behavioral
I
therapy.
know, I think so bad, which is said to reduce violent offenses by those with the condition. And yeah, basically it says that it trains them to experience empathy and regret.
Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, like, I am skeptical of CBT under the best of circumstances, so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool story, bro.
Cool
But
story,
I mean,
bro.
that would be nice if we could, like, I mean, eliminate sort of, the evil acts people do to other people, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. But that's interesting.
hmm
Love it.
I think they
Cool.
jumped a little far with that
I
one,
think
but
they probably
that's
did tell a
okay.
lot for that.
That's okay.
Somebody's
Yeah,
overextending themselves.
I know. Thank you for this website that I can't remember what it is because they had like 100 facts
Okay, that's great.
and
Love
all
it.
of them were this amazing.
Okay, okay, that's good. I do like it, I must say.
Hmm.
Nice. All right, folks. All right. So we move on to our last week's section of the episode, which is what's been bringing you
Yes.
joy this week.
Joy. What did I
Joy,
write
joy, joy,
down?
joy, down here.
Oh, down in my heart. So my child was in a school play,
Yep.
which if you're a parent or if you got nibblings or you get any opportunity to just like go watch children on stage, it's the cutest thing.
Hmm.
He was Humpty Dumpty and he
Love
was
it.
wearing this like cracked egg thing and he was on a crutch. And he
Nice.
sang, he remembered all his lines and he
Yes.
sang and he was blowing me kisses the whole time.
Yes.
So it was just, it brought me a lot of joy to see him excited and proud of himself. And like we brought him flowers and had a
Nice.
little cookie party after in his classroom. So it was just like kids are, I don't know, it was really sweet. It was really sweet.
Yeah, that sounds lovely, truly. Nice. That's a great one. Um, I've got a few actually because I've been rewatching. There's a show. I don't know if I've talked about it here before because I think I was watching it before we started doing the show. But like, there's a show called Joe Pera Talks with You that I think I've talked to you about before,
Yes,
and it's just
yes.
this nice man talking about like his life, and then it kind of takes him in kind of strange sort of tangents. But it's a
Hmm.
really kind of lovely show with a lot of heart. Really loving that. The other thing that I um important that I tell you about because I don't think we've talked about it before is that I got a copy of a game for my birthday called Ark Nova. I'm so
Ooh.
excited to have a copy of it finally, and here's why I particularly wanted to tell you about it. In the game, you are building a zoo, right? And on the cards all have Latin names for the breed and things like that. And you like, so you can like build a zoo and you can have like an expert on like a certain continent or whatever. You can have an expert on like, bears or whatever, and then kind of build your kind of zoo around that. And it's
So you're like a
very,
naturalist and
and a,
gamer.
yes, there we go. But it's great. It rocks. And it's got lots of lovely pictures and it's actually genuinely a really good game. So
What's it called?
it's called Ark Nova.
Arc Nova. Okay. And
But
you
yeah.
played on this. What do you play it on?
So it's a board game.
Okay. Oh, cool.
But you can play it online as well.
Is it competitive or is it like collaborative?
Competitive.
Okay.
I think that's a good question though. There might be a solo mode, so you might, I'm gonna look into that, but like
Yeah.
most board games, competitive is the
We
default
are
one.
a non, I know we mentioned this, but we're definitely
Oh, here.
moving in the direction of being very non-competitive board games. We got
Uh,
her for the Wicked Monopoly, and she was
yep.
so excited because she's obsessed with Wicked. And it was too competitive, and she's like, I never want to play this game again. And I was
That's
like,
very fair.
okay. So,
Yes, and we've talked about this before. I'm gonna definitely have cooperative games I could recommend to you that I think she would
yeah,
enjoy in that regard. So
yeah.
yeah, love it.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's it. For Joy this week. So Beth, could you let everybody know where they can find us?
Find us at bendypodcast.com. If you have any fun science facts that are crazy and weird, please send them in because apparently this is my jam. I could do 4 more episodes with this list. So
Absolutely. All right, folks.
you and your fusion
Me and my
quantum.
fusion, friggin' quantum computing and shit like that. The absolute fucking nerd that I am.
No, I love it. It was good. Good balance.
Oh yeah, it is. It really is. Keeps you guessing at home.
Yes, yes.
All right, folks. In that case, as always, we'd like to remind you to stay
Stay
bendy.
bendy.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
All right, good job,
Went in
folks.
today.
Uh-huh.
Love you guys.
Love you. Bye bye.